continuing pre-algebra, we are picking up where we left off, or close to it, on CO57. We talked about basically the ingredients needed to write an equation in slope-intercept form. And what are the two ingredients necessary to write an equation in slope-intercept form? The two things that we were set out to find last week Friday, so we could write these equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, that's all you need. The slope and the y-intercept. And we started by looking at these three examples here. And what was unique, or what was special, what was convenient about those three examples that we started out with, Tony?
The zero.
The zero and the x value, right? Which meant like 0, 5 and 0, -1 and 0, 10. What are they?
They're the y-intercept.
Right, the y-intercept is given to you. Okay, so for these first three, your task was really just find the slope, and we have that formula for that, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Because once you find the slope, the y-intercept is presented to you. You just put them together in y equals mx plus b, and there's your equation. Okay, but then we move down to the next section where things really got mathy. Okay, because you'll notice here these ordered pairs, none of them include the y-intercept. Okay, so not only are you solving for the slope, Carter, do you have your binder open? Dave, get your binder open, please. Okay, folks, Abby, get it up. Where's yours? Okay. Not only do you have to find the slope, but then you have to solve for the y-intercept as well. Okay, which is a couple of extra steps. We did the first one together, so let's go to the second one here. Starting with that slope, we did the second one?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then go on to the third one. Okay. Starting with that slope, what do we do? Start us out here. Kylie.
We do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus y.
We use our formula, and I'm going to label these points. You see where things are coming from there. x1, y1, x2, y2. We're using that slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to get the slope. Okay? So y2 minus y1 is 5 minus 0. And x2 minus x1 is 2 minus 3. That gives us 5 over -1, which simplifies to be what? -5, right? 5 divided by -1 is a -5. Okay? There's the slope.
Let's go.
What do we do next now? What's that second step? How do we get that y-intercept where it's not given to us like it was in the previous section there? Okay? Right. We're using the equation y equals mx plus b. And the whole point of this is that if we want to solve for the b variable, that means we need values for y, m, and x. Do we have values for y, m, and x? Yes, we do. Right? We just found m. We just found the slope. That's -5 here. Where do y and x come from then? Yeah. One of the ordered pairs. Does it matter which ordered pair? No. Sophie, do you want to use this one or that one? This one? This one. Okay. Using 3, 0, we plug in the y value 0 in for y, and we plug in the x value 3 in for x. Do you agree with that? Do you know what I just said? Oof. Never agree to something that you don't know what you're agreeing to. You just agreed to bring me candy every day for a week. Thank you.
Just give a big bag.
I prefer caramel.
I'll take candy.
Love caramel.
Caramel looks like Twix?
Now that we've plugged these in, what do we do next here? Now that we've got the values plugged in, b's our only variable that we have to solve for. How do we get there? Tony?
Solve it.
How? simplify by multiplying here, right? Multiply your -5 and 3. That gives you 0 equals -15 plus b. If I multiply those two values together, it gives us a one-step equation to solve. 0 equals -15 plus b. We want to get b by itself. So what do we do to move that -15 over? Somebody haven't heard from you today, perhaps. What do we do to move that -15 over? I think I called on you all already, Dave, but thank you for volunteering. Called on you already, but thank you.
Calls on random.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I always hated it when I was called on randomly, so I don't like to call. Colin!
Oh.
I knew it. I'm looking at it.
How do we move that -15 over, Colin? Think opposite operations here.
It's racist. Okay, say the question again.
How do we move that -15 to the other side? Because we want to get b by itself. How do we move the -15 to the other side using opposite operations? You add, exactly. Okay. The opposite of a -15 is adding 15. That gives us just b by itself. And 0 plus 15 is 15. So our b value is 15. Okay. Which means, what's our final equation here? What's our final equation? Again, somebody haven't heard from yet today. Perhaps.
Random.
Where's your binder? We found slope. We found the y-intercept. Those are the two ingredients we need. Lexi.
Y equals -5x plus 15.
Yes.
Yes.
If I could write it correctly. Y equals -5x plus 15. Once you find the values, then it's just putting them in. Okay? Y and x will stay y and x because it's the general equation of the entire line, not a specific thing. Our slope in for m, our b in for b, and there we have it. Okay. I'm going to set you to work on. Well, hold on. Let me think this through. Let's see. That's gonna give you that. Okay. We're gonna do one more together. Do you want to do the first one in the bottom row or the second one in the bottom row together?
Third one. Second.
Second one?
Sure.
It does, doesn't it? It looks pretty intimidating. All right. The third one, right? You mean? Last one? Last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
I don't have any room for it.
What's that?
I don't have any room for it.
For the last one? Then flip the page over. You can work on the backside. -16, 21, and -46 are the two ordered pairs. Let's start with the slope. We're using our formula, x1, y1, and x2, y2. Go ahead and calculate the slope on your own. I'm going to kind of do this guided step by step. I'll tell you what the step is, you do it, we'll check it, I'll tell you the next step is, you do it, we check it, and then you'll be solo on the other two. But go ahead and find the slope of this line first. I chose this one because this one does work out to be a fraction slope. Don't fret on the fraction slope, just make sure it's in simplest form. Slope is supposed to be a fraction, we don't want a decimal, okay? Just simplify the fraction. Question, Abby?
No, I got the answer.
Okay, save it for right now. Let's let people work with it.
Wait, what's the formula? X1 minus y1, x2 minus y2.
The formula defines slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you know what to do next, go ahead and try it. Okay?
Okay.
Make a mistake, you can always fix it. Down here. Okay? Find the slope of that third one. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
make it tough to look back and see what we did. All the ways that this action was.
All right, so yours should look like this. 6 minus 21 over negative 40 minus negative 16. So you got a couple negative things going on here. Okay, subtracting a negative 16. Remember that actually means 6 minus 21 is a negative 15. Negative 40 plus 16, because we're subtracting a negative, is a negative 24. And what does that fraction simplify to be, Abby?
Negative 5 over negative 8.
And so negative, not 5 over negative 8. It should be a negative 3 over negative 8. But what happens to those negative signs? They cancel out. Okay? So it's going to be, oh, it is 5. I'm sorry, Abby.
That's okay.
I'll blame it on being a Monday. But it's positive 5 over positive 8. Okay, thank you, Abby. Sorry about that. And it is positive because those two signs cancel out. Okay? So positive 5 over positive 8. Now, first of all, any questions on that step? I should stop and ask. Okay. So what do we do next? To find that b, we go to slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, and go ahead and plug in the numbers that we're going to be using here, just so we're all doing the same thing, staying consistent. Annie, do you want to use this ordered pair or that ordered pair?
The first one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone use this ordered pair. If you already started using the other one, fine. But if you haven't yet, use this ordered pair just so we can all stay pretty much consistent. But go ahead and plug in the values, plug in what we know. You should have 21 in for y. Our slope is positive 5/8. Our x is negative 16. And we're solving for b. So this is the equation that we are solving. Okay. Now, next step, simplify. What is 5/8 times negative 16? Let's talk about how you might have found it, because there are a couple different ways. Abby?
10.
Positive or negative 10? It's going to be negative because we are multiplying positive 5/8 times negative 16. So the product of a positive and a negative is going to be negative. Abby, how'd you find that?
5 to 5 divided by 8 times negative 6.
So a couple options here, right? You can enter a fraction into a calculator by using that division symbol. Okay, in parentheses, 5/8 times negative 16. Or there's an ABC button that looks kind of like that. That's kind of your fraction button. Okay, so if you push 5ABC8 times negative 16,
We don't have
yep, it's up towards the top, maybe above the 7 or 8, a couple up there. I don't know.
Is that time?
Okay. But yeah, times negative 16. Okay. That will also give you negative 10. Or if you do it mentally, you're looking for 5/8 of negative 16. What goes into negative 16 8 times? What goes into negative 16 8 times, okay? 2. You want 5 of those 2's. How much is 5 2's? 10. Right? So a number of different ways to do it mentally, using a calculator. A couple options for the calculator as far as how to put it in there. Okay? But ultimately, we get negative 10 as an answer. Go ahead and do the last step here. Solve this one-step equation for b using opposite operations. What do we come up with? What's our value for B? Kylie? 31, right? We add 10 to both sides. 31 equals B. Our final answer is all this information put together in slope-intercept form. Y equals 5/8 x plus 31.
Is there any possible way this thing could be shortened down and be faster?
Yes. I mean, I'm showing every step, writing out every step because it's your first time doing it. If I were doing it,
Can you show us?
well, it's just gonna be, I don't have to show all the work. You know, once you kind of get the hang of it, you can do more stuff in your head. You know, we wrote down the formula, we labeled the values, we wrote down different ways to multiply 5/8 times -16. You wouldn't have to necessarily write down that formula there if you knew where the pieces went. Maybe you can do the slope mentally, right? I mean, as you get better at it, there are shortcuts, you know, but when you're first learning it, you kind of want everything all written down, okay? And Jeffrey, to kind of piggyback on your point there, is the math that we're going to be doing require more steps and more work? Yes. Okay? Just because you're advancing it, right? K5 math is all pretty much the same. Once you get the 4 operations down, it's just doing different stuff with them, you know? But once you get to algebra, then you've got more multi-step things to work on. So you look back on this in about a year from now, and you're like, that's it? That's all the work you got to do?
What?
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Camille! So let's just say like the -10 was like +10. How do you like minus 10?
Yes, exactly. Opposite operations. Kylie.
If we would have used -40 instead of the -16, would it have gave you the same answer?
It would. Yes. And I'll prove it to you. You don't have to write this part down. Kylie's saying, what if we use this other order pair? Would you get the same result? The answer is yes. You don't need to write this down, but pick it up from this step here. Our y value is 6. Our slope doesn't change, still 5/8. Our x value is -40. Okay? So 5/8 times -40, that would be our next step. What goes into 40 8 times? 5. We want 5 of those 5s. What's 5 5s?
25.
25. So we get 6 equals -25, because it's positive and negative, plus b. In this case, you'd add 25 to both sides,
31.
and you get 31 as a value for b. So it does not matter which order pair you pick.
That's crazy.
It's excellent. That's what it is. Okay, you've got 15 minutes. I would like you to do the first 2 of this row. I'm going to turn off the video or pause it just so I can walk around and help out. And we'll reconvene. So there is a lesson that some of you had the opportunity to learn today. Many of you experienced it, whether you learned it or not, it's something else. But you need to be taking notes. Okay? We are past the point where, for the vast majority of you, you hear something and you remember every single step. Okay? Because there are multiple ways to do things. There are lots of variables. There's stuff going on. If you're not writing down notes while I am teaching it, you're only making it more difficult for yourself. Not only for the homework, but when you look back on how to do it on practice tests, or the actual test, or for most of you that didn't take notes, the practice work and the retakes. Okay? It is much, much easier. It's more efficient to pass the objectives on the actual test rather than have to go through the retake process. But part of that is preparing for it. Okay? And you need, you're here, you're sitting here. You've got to be here for 45 minutes anyway, right? You might as well help yourself and pay attention to what's being taught rather than have to go back to the video later or stay after school for help or this or that. Okay? Help yourselves now while you have to be here anyway. That's my soapbox. Homework to tomorrow, finish the page. That's my math.